Flash episode 19, Who is Harrison Wells? An amazing episode for this season. We only have, I believe, 3 or 4 more episodes left, and this is definitely one of those huge leaps in the series. And it was actually an amazing episode, even for Arrow, even though technically it was a Flash episode, because we got one of the greatest crossovers. Because not only did we get to see two of the characters, two really important characters, really the Lance, family. We didn't only get to see them, but we got to see one of those characters, of course, being Laurel, get one of these signature pieces to the Black Canary outfit, and that is the choker that she wears. And in this case, it's what's going to give her the ability to do like the sonic scream, the canary cry. And I thought that was the coolest thing. I didn't expect that at all. I figured he was just going to make a cooler weapon, which I guess he did. But I thought he'd just make the grenades cooler. And I was like, oh, that's cool. It's going to be a bit of an advancement in technology. It'll help her fight better. That'll be pretty sweet. I didn't expect them to do it where she would get the choker and, have another piece of the costume. And not only that, but it'll be awesome to finally see her do the scream. And, it takes people out and she has that control over it herself, just as if it was the actual superpower. So that was an amazing portion. We also got to see Captain Lance talking to Iris's father, talking to Joe. And Joe, in this episode, his role was kind of to help Lance see he kind of has to forgive Laurel for lying to him and keeping this big secret about Sarah that she'd actually passed away. And I thought that was really cool because I was wondering, how are they going to write it in that he forgives her? How are they going to make it happen where he gives her the chance to, say her piece and allow her to be with her father, because he really separates the two of them after finding out that Sarah was actually dead. And it's been that way for a while now, and especially in the course of the series, it's been like weeks since that happened, almost a month, I believe. So, it was actually really cool to see them do that, where they had to kind of bring the characters in from Flash in order to, make that happen. So I think that's going to be really cool. It'll be a nice little step that we might get to see in tomorrow's episode of Arrow. And I would love to see it if what happened in this episode, as far as Laurel getting the choker, if she actually uses it in the next episode of Arrow. I think that would be really freaking sweet. But I thought that was really great how they did that. And it was a nice way to, like I said, write in how they're going to have Captain Lance and Laurel actually, finally reconnect and be able to move on as father and daughter. So that was really awesome. One other thing I noticed is that, and they've done this before, but it's like whenever a character comes from Arrow to Flash, except for Oliver, who's just like, just, no, don't talk to me. And it's like the same personality all the way through. Aside from him, everyone is like 15% happier when they're in Flash. Like Laurel was like happy when she was talking to Cisco and she's laughing and stuff. For Lance, it was actually fairly similar. He had some jokes and stuff too, though. But like you can always see the difference in Arrow and Flash, and it's always funny when they do that. And it was kind of cool that they had that in this episode. And of course, the crossover led to one of the huge moments that I was hoping for, and it was the fact that they found the real Harrison Wells buried basically, next to that dirt road where he was killed so long ago. And now they have the proof. They have the proof that whoever this Harrison Wells is, it's not theirs. It's not the one who's supposed to be there. And of course, that was like a huge thing at first. And then they have the little extra credit scene. It's like, well, who gives a crap now? They have, they have the body, and that's basically, nothing compared to them finding the room. And at first, because I watched iZombie and I actually watched that first, so I saw like the last couple of seconds. I was like, oh no, and I didn't know he was going to be in the room. But I thought he was by himself, so even when I actually got to watch the episode, even though I saw that little clip of Barry in the room, it was fortunately the scene where it was like, spinning around him by himself. And I saw the actual scene at the end. I was like, oh, all 3 of them saw this room. I thought he just randomly found it by himself. But all 3 characters, we got Cisco, Caitlin, and Barry. They're all in the room together. Caitlin obviously was having the biggest issue realizing, or trying to decide whether or not Harrison Wells could really be the Reverse Flash. And I loved her reasoning for that, but obviously with the last two scenes in this episode, it was, she's fully on board in this one by the end of this episode, and it was just crazy. Like, they go in, they see the costume, and it's like, holy crap. And then of course Barry sees the sort of hologram newspaper, and it's from 2024, and it's blowing their minds. So I can't wait to see what they do with all of this. But this was a great episode leading up to these huge reveals. Like I said, the stuff with Caitlin I thought was really great, and her reasoning behind not wanting to trust things, because she knew, like, if this isn't, if this Harrison Wells only did this for evil purposes, then everything I've done since I started working for Star Labs has been a lie. And I thought that was really cool. It made sense for her reasoning. It wasn't just like, I want to trust him for no reason. It was because she didn't want to feel like her life was really just leading, was just working on this plan that, this really huge villain came up with. Like, he's an actual super villain. And she didn't want her entire life to be a part of that, which includes, losing her fiance. So, there's a lot in there, and I thought it made perfect sense. And, she's trying to get answers by herself and stuff like that. And I love that scene when she went to the house, and just before he opens the door, Barry runs in and takes her to, like, this random road. And, it was just cool. It made sense, her reasoning behind not wanting to trust that Harrison Wells was the Reverse Flash 100% without, like, some really definitive proof. And I enjoyed that. I thought it was really cool. It wasn't like she's just being an obstacle because she just wants to trust this guy. And that's obviously a part of it, because you don't just want to assume this guy is bad. But, it wasn't just her. It was her entire life and everything she'd done up until that point. Even helping Barry, because really all of that is still a part of the plan. For Thawne, I'm still thinking, Wells. But for Thawne to really get back to his own time. So it's just really crazy, and it was just really fun. Like, it was definitely a great episode. I really loved it. One of the really cool things they did, aside from the little, sort of mini Arrow crossover, is that we got to see 3 cities in this episode, because we've seen Starling City, Central City, because of the Arrow and Flash. But in the beginning of this, Barry runs to Coast City, and this is the first time we've actually seen Coast City in either series. They referenced it maybe 4 or 5 episodes ago. They referenced, like, Coast City and stuff, but we actually got to see it, so that was kind of nice. And it was just like, here's reference, and that was it. But it was still cool. Like, we got to see Coast City officially, even if it was just like, here's a sign, and then the city itself. So I thought that was a nice little nod to toss in there, just like, here it is. Here's another city that may or may not hold a very important character in the future, depending on how they decide to do things with heroes outside of, both Flash and Arrow. But loved the episode, thought it was great. The main villain I thought was pretty cool, the Everyman. That was nice, all the different issues they had to deal with through that, and ultimately how that kind of led Eddie to tell Iris he'd been working with the Flash. And Barry didn't seem too excited about that. It was just like, it's just like, crap. Like, I don't know how that's going to go down. I mean, she's going to obviously try to get answers from Eddie. If Barry goes to her as the Flash, she's going to say, why didn't you tell me this or tell me that, because you talked to me anyway. So it'll play out however it plays out, but it should be interesting. And she'll try to get more answers, which she tried in this episode, which I completely forgot about. But she made this connection, I think it was like 3, maybe 4 or 5 episodes ago, when she made the connection that Caitlin knows who Firestorm is. And when they're in the car and she brought that up, I was like, I completely forgot she made that connection, because she hasn't really, she doesn't really interact with the Star Labs characters too often. So I completely forgot that she made that connection, because it was like a while ago. I mean, it's not like we're that far into the series or anything, but it seems like that was forever ago, because it was such a small thing, and they kind of let it fall by the wayside for a while until they finally had the moment to bring these 2 characters together, and it was just them, and then of course the Everyman in the background, or in the back seat. But I thought that was cool. I completely forgot she made that connection so long ago. And she brings it up, and I think she did it just to see Caitlin's reaction. It's just like, oh, I thought that was an urban legend and stuff. So it was kind of nice that they brought that up again because, like I said, totally forgot she made that connection. And that was, I feel like that was a really long time ago. I'm pretty sure that was before they even had the whole thing with, us knowing that Harrison Wells was actually Reverse Flash in any way. I'm pretty sure that's when she made that connection. So that was a while ago. That was like 2 months ago almost. So it's kind of crazy to think about that. It's been 2 months since they had that. And it was, like I said, like the tiniest little scene where she knew, I think it was in a picture or something like that. Or she found out, no, it was like she saw the face or something like that. I can't really remember 100%. But it was like she saw his face and it was like, oh, that's, Caitlin's fiance or something like that. And so she, they basically, like I said, they kind of let that die down for a long time until they had the chance to, put the characters together. So it was cool that they brought that up. I'd love to see that kind of, go even further now that Eddie has kind of told her, like, I'm working with the Flash, and so it'll kind of drive her to get even more answers. Like, she even brought up the fact that, there's this guy who used to work in my office who kind of kept a file on all the crazy things going on in the city. So I feel like they also did that because she's going to start picking things up again. Like especially, like I said, with Eddie having told her at the end of this episode, I'm working with the Flash. She's going to start picking that stuff up and maybe looking into old cases and trying to figure out, maybe this was the Flash even back then before even I, kind of put the word out there because she was the first person. But I'm excited for what they do. And another huge thing they did was with, by the end of the episode, they kind of showed off to their captain as well as the DA, like, this is happening now. Like, these are metahumans. And that's a big thing. It's not like all over the news or anything, but these are like two really big figures. It's like the captain of police, or the chief of police, captain, whatever, and then you have like a district attorney, and she's gonna go back like, okay, well, this is the evidence that got him released. That's gonna be seen by a lot of people, so this stuff is gonna spread, and they're gonna know, this kind of stuff is out there. So they did a lot of cool little things in this episode that I really loved. And then, of course, a couple of huge, just insanely ginormous things by the end of the episode. But I definitely loved it. I can't wait to see these last couple of episodes for the season. I'm still incredibly curious for season 2 because I'm just like, if they beat him by the end of this season, what is season 2 going to be? Like, I didn't think that they were doing any of the stuff that they're doing this season. I thought, he'll be the Reverse Flash. Once that was announced, I was like, oh, he'll be Reverse Flash for a long time. And, that'll be like season 2, end of season 2 or something, they'll have to beat him. And then it's like, nope, Reverse Flash. This is Reverse Flash. I think he's Reverse Flash. He is Reverse Flash. Here's the evidence that he's Reverse Flash. And now he's from the future. So, I don't know what we're getting in these last couple of episodes, but I'm incredibly excited for it. I'm loving the crossovers that they're doing because they did it with Arrow as well when Ray went to Flash, and that was in last week's episode when they locked up, this supposed metahuman who Cisco mentioned. He was in Central City. He wasn't in I'm completely forgetting the name. Starling City. He was in Starling City, not Central City. That's what it was. And if he was there during the explosion, the particle accelerator explosion, how come he has superpowers? So they're doing some really big things in some of these crossovers. It's like, here's this little section where they cross over, and here's this huge thing that we're talking about when they cross over for like a minute or 2 minutes long. So, they did something huge with that, like here are actual superhumans and not just metahumans in Arrow. And then in this episode we get, Black Canary finally getting like the choker, and that's gonna not only be a part of her normal costume, but it'll give us, sort of the Canary cry. So love the episode. Like I said, I want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and I don't know, just like what the heck is gonna happen. What do you guys think about them officially finding the room at the end of this episode? Because it was just awesome all the way around for me. But I want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.